and welcome to the To Be Read podcast, where we give honest reviews on viral books you may see on social media and book review websites. This is Chris.
And Harrison, and on today's episode, we will be discussing The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. So cozy on in, and let's see if you should add this book to your TBR shelf. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the To Be Read podcast. We hope you've had a wonderful March, even though this video is coming up on April, but it's fine. If you listened to our last episode, we had our first special guest, which was my husband, Lathan, where we read Two Can Play by Allie Hazelwood. We talked about it, and the reason this episode is a little late was because Chris had laryngitis, but she is back, and she has her voice back, which is the most important thing. Like every episode, we're going to start off with the synopsis of The Housemaid, and then we'll get straight on to our review. So here we go. Welcome to the family, Nina Winchester says as I shake her elegant, manicured hand. I smile politely, gazing around the marble hallway. Working here is my last chance to start fresh. I can pretend to be whoever I like, but I'll soon learn that the Winchester secrets are far more dangerous than my own. Every day I clean the Winchesters' beautiful house top to bottom. I collect their daughter from school, and I cook a delicious meal for the whole family before heading up to eat alone in my tiny room on the top floor. I try to ignore how Nina makes a mess just to watch me clean it up, how she tells strange lies about her own daughter, and how her husband Andrew seems more broken every day. But as I look into Andrew's handsome brown eyes so full of pain, it's hard to not imagine what it would be like to live in Nina's life. The walk-in closet, the fancy car, the perfect husband. I only try on one of Nina's new pristine white dresses once, just to see what it's like. But she soon finds out, and by the time I realize my attic bedroom door only locks from the outside, it's far too late. But I reassure myself, the Winchesters don't know who I really am. They don't know what I'm capable of. An unbelievably twisty read that will have you glued to the pages late into the night. Anyone who loves the woman in the window, the wife between us, and the girl on the train won't be able to put this down. So, this book has the most ratings out of any book we've reviewed so far, with 2.2 million ratings, and it sits at 4.31 stars.
According to Goodreads.
Yes, according to Goodreads. So, Chris, what did you rate this at?
3.
Same. Okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one. When I saw that, it was at 4.3, and I was like, oh, what's wrong with me? But I can see.
Don't know if I rated it a 3 because I expected more out of it because I looked up the rating prior to reading it. But
I didn't. This is the first time we've seen it.
Things we'll get into.
Yeah, I expected more out of it because it's being turned into a movie and the cast that they have for this movie.
I could actually see this being a good movie.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be a good movie, and I'm totally going to watch it. But I just had high expectations because of that. If that makes sense. Do you want to... Let's first talk about what we thought about the book cover.
Okay, that's what I was going to say too. Okay, so the door makes so much more sense now.
Yeah, the keyhole.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
And so I wish that the color had a relevance. I almost wish that the door is white.
That's what I'm thinking, because Nina wore white all the time because Andrew loved her in white.
Yeah.
Because the second book is white.
There's a second book?
There's 3 books.
Is it all the same series?
No.
Oh.
Okay, so you know at the end of the book when she meets the other wife?
Yeah.
That's the next book.
Oh. That might be interesting. You mean the fiance?
The very end of the book, she's interviewing for another maid position.
Oh, yeah, I do remember
That
that.
was Nina recommended her to the other lady. That's who the second book is on, is her at
Ah,
that new family.
oh no, they're all going to just be screwed up, aren't they? But
All
no,
the husbands, yeah.
book cover, honestly, solid book cover. I just wish the door was white.
Yeah, be the only thing I'd say. I think it's a great book cover.
I agree. I very
Okay.
much agree. I like that it's not very busy, and I mean, it's just honestly after reading the book, very perfect.
Yeah, it's very simple. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into our thoughts about it.
Okay. um so I knocked off an entire star because like most books in this genre, you sit there and you contemplate like who done it,
Uh-huh.
right? And so after getting into this book, I was like, this woman too crazy right off the get go to be the actual crazy one.
Yeah,
And so I called it straight from the get go that it was the husband.
me,
Because why the
me
F would the
too.
husband stay with that crazy broad?
I literally, I told Lathan this tonight. I was like, he was asking me my thoughts about it. I was like, it was so predictable. I guessed it was the husband within like the first few chapters.
Yeah, yeah.
As soon as she met him,
I
I was
didn't
like,
suspect that. I did suspect that she looked into the background of the maid.
mhm.
But I didn't suspect that, like, he wouldn't have. And it didn't insinuate whether he did or didn't. But,
I was,
like,
he didn't.
why in the world at the end of the book would he put himself in the situation he did, knowing if he knew?
I don't think he did any research on her
And so that
because he
didn't,
was a little
yeah,
surprised
that didn't
when
feel
she
very
was
well thought
there.
out for me. I think that the story itself is great, and I think it's going to make a fantastic TV show or movie.
Mhm.
Um, it gives, it gave me a little like controlling trauma. um, but I mean, what was the maid's name?
Really?
Millie. Millie. I keep wanting to say Mila for some reason. Millie. Millie? Best character, honestly.
Oh, really? I liked Nina the best.
Well, I mean, Enzo's the best character,
Oh,
honestly.
yeah.
But, but like, she did. I was so proud of her at the end.
Mhm. I knocked a whole point off because of the stereotypical nanny having an affair with the husband.
Yeah.
I I hate that.
Yeah, but I mean, it was kind of curated, right? But like,
Yeah,
I,
Nina curated it.
right. But like, I don't know. It does kind of like give the ick, and it just seemed to fall together so fast and quickly.
Yeah, instant love things, which I guess he had instant love because of he did the same thing with Nina. He had instant love with Nina.
Yeah. Well, and I
So
think
that's
that
like his MO.
yeah, I think it all had to do with the fact that he had this perfect life planned out, and he wasn't able to get his perfect life from Nina, or at least he didn't think he could. So, but man, Nina's smart.
Yeah. Well, and he totally his mom groomed him that way.
What would she have done if Millie quit? That would have been
I
a
don't know.
whole other book.
I don't know. I think she knew Millie was so desperate because she had just gotten out of prison and she needed a job.
It's true. It was kind of
That
like the
that's how she.
perfect disaster.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm glad that that Nina and Enzo didn't end up together. Like that made me happy.
Yeah, I would agree. I really liked the like friendship relationship that they had. I do kind of wish that it stayed as like a he thought of her like his little sister. Um, but I do think that the author kind of like rectified the situation in my brain by making it
Yeah,
to where,
he stayed and she left.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yes,
I I agree with that. I was very pleased with that.
yeah,
I think she pulled off the ending so well
yes. And
with
most of
like
the time, like the ending usually just like whop comes all together and then like the book is done. And so I kind of
yeah.
like that there was like an after portion and like what's happening after all of this. And I'm kind
Mhm.
of like, I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect for the cop to be. And so when he like kind of leaned over, and I was like,
I know.
yes. So I
I
did
know.
like a little
It's
dance.
like, oh my gosh. That was a shock to me. That was my shocker of the book.
Yeah.
Was the detective cop guy being Andrew's ex-fiance's dad. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so crazy." Also, the twist that the prologue wasn't Millie, it was actually Nina.
Yes.
That was a good twist as well. She had good twists in it, but she just, I think the main villain being Andrew was, at least to me,
So predictable.
very
I do wish
obvious.
that the daughter had more to play in it all.
Their daughter was a brat.
I know, but like their daughter knew that when she did something that Andrew didn't like, that her mom paid for it. And sure, like maybe she kind of took advantage of that situation a little bit so that she could just get whatever she wanted. But like honestly, after I found out like that Nina wasn't actually like an actual bitch, I
She was
really,
like, oh,
really felt so bad for her. And I felt bad for her daughter. And I'm just like sitting there, like as a mom myself, and I was like, what in the world would I do if I was in this situation? Because I just remember how I was postpartum. And I probably would have I would have like dug my way out of that room.
I think her doing the plan of having her daughter go to the camp for those 2 weeks while she finalized everything was really smart on her part.
Yes, very much so. Although
Yeah.
I do feel like knowing what we know about the like husband, I'm
Mhm.
surprised that that was allowed
Oh,
because
that
that's
he,
like the thing he was holding over her.
yeah, that is so true. How, yeah, that is a little bit of a interesting question
But it
because
made
he was
sense on why
so,
she was so insistent on taking her daughter to camp.
yeah, because every every other time her daughter had an activity or whatever, the other moms were picking her up from school and taking her. So yeah, that's an interesting question of how he didn't catch on that something was going on behind the scenes in Nina's mind of like coming up with a plan.
Right. I also feel like if
Interesting.
Enzo backed her up, that she probably could have gone to the authorities. There's also
Yeah,
phones
that is a
involved.
great question.
There's also
How she
phone
didn't
involved.
go.
So like how in the world did she not like
Yeah, how did she not go to the cops? How was that not a thought in her mind? She could have had, but she did try that one time and they just put her in the crazy mental place.
yeah, I mean
because she did try to like say stuff, and then he made her believe she was hallucinating and immediately like changed the room around to be a
Yeah.
storage
I
room.
do really appreciate how like at first she was like, I didn't do that. That's not how that went. And then later it was just like, I couldn't I didn't do that, did I? Did
Mm-hmm.
I do that? And then
Yeah.
she's just like, I guess I did. And I was just like, oh my God, she's totally brainwashed.
Brainwashed her like crazy.
Like, if that
And
isn't
same thing
like
with,
gaslighting of the century, I don't know what is.
yeah, and same thing with Millie and the fact that the whole peanut butter situation with their daughter being allergic to peanuts and she didn't know. And he comes in, he's like, she's not allergic to peanuts. I'm like, oh. And then later on, you do find out from Nina's perspective that the whole time he would keep replacing the peanut butter to try to get their daughter to have an allergic reaction. Like, that is crazy. Also, as a mom, to be like, you're intentionally trying to give your kid an allergic reaction.
And see, it's kind of things like that that like I probably would have tried to record and immediately back up.
Record it, send to like a different account, and then delete the evidence on your phone.
Yeah.
I feel like in she could, with Enzo testifying, she could have totally went to the police before.
I agree.
But it was cool for the plan that she had.
Right. Also, though, like personally, the best part of the book is when he gets locked in the room.
Yes,
I'll
when he
let you
got
out,
locked. Oh my gosh.
just not yet.
In 20 minutes. Now you have to
Oh,
put
did I
when,
say 3 hours? I think I said 5.
yeah. And she made him put the books on his intimate parts.
Yes.
Oh
And
my
the
gosh. That was,
okay, what also blew my mind was the mom at the
his
funeral.
mom was,
I mean, obviously she's the trauma. She's the reason
oh
he acts the
yeah.
way he does.
Oh, she
But
groomed him
but
100%.
the fact that she was just like, "I'm so glad that you taught him a lesson. I guess he never learned." And I'm just like,
Like, it was also crazy. Also, I want to know how his dad put up with his mom that whole time.
yeah,
Like, did his mom do those things to him and his dad? And that's
wild.
what made him think
Right.
that was normal?
Yeah, wild.
Talk about generational trauma, man.
For real.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad Nina got their daughter out of that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I hope, like, she finds a good person. Or if she stays with just her and her daughter, I wouldn't blame her. After living with that, I wouldn't trust any guy.
Yeah,
I'd pick
that's
the
fair.
bear in that situation. You know that meme?
Yes.
Okay.
That is the
I'd
reason
100%.
that is the reason women choose bear.
Yeah. 100%. Andrew's a prime example.
Yeah.
Anything else like surprise you or you liked or didn't like?
Um not really. Um Not really, honestly. Like I remember thinking like at the beginning of the book I was like, "Man, why does he stay with this girl?" But I mean, we all know that it was an act now,
Yeah,
which we've practically told a lot of the story. So if you're
it's
listening
okay.
to this, hopefully if you're listening to us, they know that
Yeah.
we definitely spilled the beans.
Millie's backstory and the fact that like the reason that she was in prison and the reason she was fired from her job after getting out of prison was all for standing up for women who were being assaulted. One of them was herself from the diner that she worked at.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I applaud her for doing that and not taking crap and allowing people to take advantage of other people like that.
Yeah.
And I will say, I don't understand how her friend, who she saved, disowned her. That was a little frustrating. But props to Millie for standing ground and sticking up for women.
Yeah.
Because
She's a
that is
true
not
girl's
easy.
girl.
She is. She is a girl's girl.
Even though she slept with her husband.
Yeah, except for that part. That's not when she's a girl's girl. She's a girl's girl when it comes to guys being aggressive.
Yeah. But I feel like it kind of turned around. Plus, she was kind of like, kind of manipulated into that situation.
She 100% was manipulated into that situation.
Yeah. So you can't really, like, fully blame her, I guess.
Yeah.
Nina knew her husband was cunning.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Let's go on to what our next book is going to be.
Yes.
Okay. You want to introduce the book?
No, you can this time. I think I introduced this one.
Okay, so we're doing another memoir, and I'm very excited, which is also, this is hilarious because our last book that we did, the last memoir we did was a Disney star, and this one's a Nickelodeon star, and we also did the Disney High book. We're just bringing back our childhood memories, okay? Anyways, the book we're reading is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. And if you know anything about her, she starred in iCarly. She played Sam, and she also played Sam in Sam and Cat as well. So
I didn't realize that her name was the same. That's hilarious.
Well, she's the same character. It's the
I
same
didn't
character.
watch the second one. That's whatever you watched.
I never did either, but I just know that it was Cat from Victorious and Sam from iCarly. They were like roommates or something. I'm pretty sure she talks about that in this book.
Okay.
Like that whole series. What do you have any? It's hard to go off a memoir of like what you're gonna guess the book is about, because obviously
say that. So if you look up the cover, honestly, like, I am already so interested in what she has to say because of like the way she's dressed and the fact that she's holding this bright pink urn. And so it just looks very like old-timey. And so
yeah.
I don't know. I'm interested to see how it goes. I also think that she's just utterly hilarious. And so
she was my favorite character on iCarly.
Absolutely. I just also felt like a very like close connection with her in iCarly because I felt like I was a lot like her.
You can see that. Yeah. My favorite like episode of hers, I don't remember the name of it, but I just remember they went to this restaurant and everything was ginormous size and food portions. And it was like I think it was a cheesecake place. And yeah, because they had cheesecake for dessert, but the salad bowl was like a giant mixing bowl of salad. That was like one person's portion.
I remember that, yeah.
That was my favorite episode because her lines on that were just hilarious. But I think, I could be completely wrong when I read this, but I think her mom was kind of controlling and I don't know. I'm sure we'll read about it, obviously, because the title is I'm Glad My Mom Died.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big statement.
Yeah. I will say I'm pretty sure she narrates the book in the Audible book.
Really? That's exciting. So I did listen to the book that we reviewed,
Oh
and I
yeah.
actually really thoroughly enjoyed the narrator. It was just very good, honestly.
Oh good.
She did a good job. She kind of had like a small accent, but it wasn't terrible to listen to. She was a slow talker, and so I listened at 2.5 times speed, but I understand that that's still pretty fast for a lot of people. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Yeah, narrated by Jeanette McCurdy.
Oh, that's so cool.
I'm excited to listen to
I know
that
you
now.
were I know you were disappointed with the Britney Spears one because Britney didn't narrate it.
I know. Yeah, I was disappointed.
So hopefully this one will be good because she narrates it. So
Yeah, the Anna Kendrick one I read, and then I listened to it because I saw that she narrates her own book, and
Mhm.
I love Anna Kendrick, and it was way better just to
Gosh, Anna
listen to it.
Kendrick is great.
Yeah, I agree.
Good.
So I'm
So anyways,
excited.
yes.
Yay! I'm very excited.
Yeah. Very excited to read another memoir. I think I like these a lot.
Yes. So
But
if you're gonna read along with us and you're listening to this podcast, let us know in the comments.
what do you think? Also, we have to end this with, do you think you should add The Housemaid to your TBR shelf?
Oh yeah. No.
You don't think so?
I think that you should watch the show first.
The movie that's gonna come
I don't know.
out.
Honestly.
I have a
If
feeling.
you like a quick read, honestly, I did this in a day and a half. And so, if you like a quick read and you like the thriller genre and you just kind of know what to expect, sure, pick it up. But if you want a good book and one that's going to surprise you, I wouldn't personally.
I think the movie's gonna be better.
I agree.
And I usually don't say that. I usually say the book's better than the movie.
I completely agree with that. So, in my opinion, I would say watch the movie first.
Yeah.
I
When
haven't
it
even
comes
seen the
out.
movie, obviously, but watch the movie first because I
It
feel
hasn't
like it would
come
make a
out
way
yet.
better movie. Just wait and watch it then.
So Chris says no. I say um if you're new to mystery thriller books, yes. Otherwise, no. If thriller mystery books are your genre, I think there are better ones out there
I definitely agree with that.
that leave you more surprised. I know we've said it before, but The Silent Patient, I was surprised with that one.
Oh my god, that one's so good. Um, I I did appreciate that all people were sober in this book.
Yes.
So that is a huge plus for me because I do feel like a lot of thriller books have that like intoxicated main
Yeah.
character and that feels cheap
Yes.
to me. So this was very well done because
Mm-hmm.
she had to think of all angles. So I did like
Yes.
that.
I remember you saying when we read The House Across the Lake
Yeah.
because she was an alcoholic, and same thing.
I would
We didn't
recommend
review this
this
book.
book over that one.
Yeah, this
1000%.
100%
Yeah,
over the other thriller book we did. And also, if you ever want to read The Woman in Cabin 10, this is better than that one too.
agreed. Which both of those had.
Alcoholic main characters.
Yeah. Same thing with like the woman on the train or whatever. She was also intoxicated. I'm just over that thing. We need to,
Intoxicated female
yeah,
main
yeah,
characters
we need to
in
get away from
specific.
that. Just get away from it, please. I'm tired of it.
Yeah. Amen. Anyways, that's all for today's video. Make sure you follow us on social media so you never miss an update on when our episodes go live. That's all for today, guys. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and happy April.
Yay. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the To Be Read podcast, where we discussed The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. Join us next time as we review Jeanette McCurdy's memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died.